I'm very grateful to Yuli and to the Writing Association for inviting me today, and to you all for being here also today. I feel very privileged as a member of Parliament to be able to discuss the matters and principles that unite us as conservatives. As you may know, my journey in politics has been somewhat bumpy. But I very much enjoy my most recent role as an MP. It gives me more time to visit constituency association and to meet people like you. It also gives me more time to think and to think about policy and even to write and talk about it, which is impossible when you have very heavy responsibilities. And I started a blog almost a year ago, where you can see YouTube videos of me discussing monetary policy and various other topics. I believe I'm the only MP in Ottawa to run such a blog. All the others understand that it is useless to try to compete with funny videos of cats and dogs and Hollywood celebrities. Whatever you've read in the newspaper, the first things you should know about me is that I'm from the Beauce. And the Beauce is the region along the river Chaudière, south of Quebec City. And like Lee just told you, it's a very well-known region in Quebec. And it is the most entrepreneurial region of the province. This is where I learned the values that go with entrepreneurship: individual freedom, personal responsibility, integrity, and self-reliance. Because I often talk about these values, I've been called by the media and described by the media as the Albertan from Quebec. And I can tell you that this is a compliment. I wish the media was always this nice to me. Of course, they are also universal values that are at the core of Western civilization and are shared by millions of Canadians. Values that have made this country prosperous and a great place to live. And I believe you will agree with me, they very much are conservative values. Values that distinguish us from our political opponents. When a problem arises, our opponents think that more government intervention is always the solution. And as Ronald Reagan once said, these people tend to see the role of government in 3 steps. If it's moved, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. For us conservatives, on the contrary, government should ideally set up and enforce the basic rules of life in society, and then leave individuals free to cooperate among themselves to provide for their wants. Good government should not intervene to solve each and every problem on the road to a utopian and unrealistic vision of society. To paraphrase John F. Kennedy, from a conservative perspective, don't ask what your government can do for you. Ask your government to get out of the way so that you can be free. Yes, you can be free to take responsibility for yourself, for your family, and for everyone else that you care about. Good government policy gives individuals the opportunity to dream and to realize their dreams. It does not impose the dreams of some on everyone. And I went into politics to defend this kind of policy. But now let's face it, these perspectives based on freedom, personal responsibility, and self-reliance is not that fashionable nowadays. Over the past 100 years, government has grown to gigantic proportion. It intervenes in almost every aspect of our lives. It tries to plan economic development. It tells us if we may or may not cut down a tree on our own property. It takes care of us from the cradle to the grave. But we got to a situation now where every child that is born is already burdened with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And if you take all levels of government into account, about half the wages of working people in this country goes to fund all this government intervention. So why did this happen? Economists and political scientists who belong to a school of thought called public choice have tried to explain this dynamic. Their research shows particular groups have a strong interest in getting organized to put pressure on politicians. These special interest groups want subsidies, trade protection, more generous social programs, a fiscal or legal privilege, regulation that favors them and keeps out competition. And if ever they get from the government, can potentially bring them huge benefit. Of course, each of us will have to pay for it. But in our case, the amount we pay for each measure is not significant enough to justify getting organized to oppose it. You won't go to meetings and demonstrate in the street to oppose a particular program that will cost you $10. But the small group of people who get $100 million have a huge interest in getting organized. And you know it, it's very hard. It's very hard for politicians to say no to these lobbies because they have the means to hijack debates, quickly mobilize support, and fuel controversies in the media.